Friend to the channel, Atius has done something many people aspire to do. Our friendly philosophical Satanist has written a book due out in 2026. Now, this isn't just any book, mind you. We're talking about a grimoire where he shares knowledge gained from the entity known as Baphomet. However, how does this knowledge translate to the reader? Well, we're gonna find out. I'm Melvin, and this is Unexplained Possibilities Reviews, Book of Baphomet. With 8 chapters spread across 65 pages, at first glance, this appears to be a short and sweet read, of which you'd be correct. However, once you start reading, you'll soon learn that this short read is deeper than what it appears to be on the surface and will require reflection, rereads, and an openness for true understanding. The book is very well written, and you don't need to be someone with years of occult knowledge to understand the content held within. However, I do feel if someone is interested in learning about the more historical aspects of Baphomet and not so much the occult spirituality aspect, then they should probably look elsewhere. While Chapter 1 goes over some of the history surrounding Baphomet, it won't be enough to quench scholarly thirst for the historical knowledge about the entity. I would also say the Book of Baphomet would serve best as an in-between tool of someone who has some occult knowledge and understanding but still finding their way. It's also great if you're curious and want to know and understand the inner thoughts of someone who is devoted to Baphomet. At points, information from Baphomet, speaking through the author, Atius, is daring you to leave your comfort zone. Dive into the dark, unravel yourself and what you think you know, so you can rebuild yourself anew and more in balance. In fact, themes of this book is balance and inner transformation. This is mostly seen in Chapter 3, which helps you with ritual work, and Chapter 4, which goes over transformation. In Chapter 3, the ritual instructions are very clear and easy to follow. There are even explanations as to why you do things a certain way as opposed to just do it because I say so. These instructions don't come off condescending or not overly dramatic for performative purposes. However, there is a small problem. Getting to the rituals in the chapter drags on a little bit. To start, we get 3 principles: destroy illusion, demand transformation, and confront paradox. Directly after these 3 principles, we get a brief philosophy. Those, I believe, are perfect and to the point. So now let's get into the ritual, is what I'd like to say. But now we have several paragraphs echoing what was said in the principles. 1 or 2 paragraphs explaining some details I understand, but 6 feels like it's too much, especially when they're all basically saying prepare yourself for transformation and a deep dive into your being, breaking down and becoming one anew. While the book is fairly fluff-free, there is some fluff in Chapter 3, which could have been cut. As I was reading this, the scene from a Monty Python movie comes to mind. To be fair to the author, it is very little fluff to be found, and this feels like a real person speaking about their experiences, sharing knowledge given to them, and being spoken through them. Nothing feels exaggerated. As I was reading through the chapters, a familiar feeling came upon me. The tone, some of the structure, and some of the descriptions made me think about Curtis Joseph's Black Magic of Ahriman. This should be taken as a compliment. Both books share a similar tone and energy about them that I can only describe as more than human, but not something so out of reach you'll fail to grasp and understand. Chapter 5 is a very interesting chapter because it's the "this mess just got real" part. I feel like this chapter is a little out of place, and it should come before chapter 3 but after chapter 4, because it does serve as a warning of what may come and how you will need to be devoted to this current, as this will become your life. This is the transformation that was talked about, the breaking yourself down to your very core. For me, this is the most important part of the book because it's the point of no return. Hence why I feel it should come before the ritual given to open yourself up to Baphomet. Adding to this, I do feel Atius should have emphasized more that what he's describing is purely his experiences. While some core experiences will probably be similar for others, when it comes to the occult, there is no one size fits all. We all have our own reality, paths, and perspectives. While Atius is in no way, shape, or form saying he's the chosen one of Baphomet and his way is the only way, without specifically mentioning how people may experience things differently, one could misconstrue Atius's words as the end-all be-all. So in his future writings, he'll have to be more aware of that. Reading chapter 6 is the one that made me want a glossary of terms and meanings, just so I could have something to quickly go to for a quick meaning lookup and then back. Chapter 6 was also the cause of a headache and confusion. It was the main culprit as to why I had to reread this a few times over. For whatever reason, I was not clicking with what was being said at first. In this chapter, we dive into the black tree of death and life. At first, I thought the black tree was the Kliphof, and yes, I know I butchered that name. However, it was quickly explained this is not that. The black tree is a symbol of death and transformation. Baphomet is the guide who helps people along the paths of the tree, offering different perspectives on existence. While I'm simplifying this for review purposes, in the book Atius goes into great detail, and while appreciated, it somewhat hurts the book. It's a lot of information, and unlike the other chapters, this comes off forced and is missing the natural flow found in the chapters before and after it. Simply put, Atius is too descriptive and long-winded throughout most of this chapter. However, that doesn't mean what's being shared isn't good. I learned new concepts I wasn't aware of, and it has me thinking about the descent into the roots, and when emerging from them, what would be seen and left of me. Now, what would have helped here would be first cutting down on some of the details and descriptiveness, and a brief and simple introduction on the black tree and how it connects with Baphomet, followed by Atius' experiences and him explaining why the black tree is important and how descent into darkness of its roots is transformative. I believe in this case, less is more, and it wouldn't be as overwhelming and confusing with how it currently is. Considering that this is the only chapter like that, I'm wondering if it was intentional padding or just poor structure. Either way, you still come away with knowledge, even if you have to go over it a few times. One of the most worrisome parts of the grimoire is the final chapter where Atius relays his conversation with Baphomet. I'm always skeptical when someone claims to speak with an entity. However, in this case, the conversation comes off grounded, believable, and without a hero complex saying he's humanity's savior, unlike a certain blonde with too many titles to list. The dialogue, as it's called, feels personable, and I enjoyed reading Atius' thoughts, fears, realization, and overall conversation with Baphomet. This once again reminded me of messages from Black Magic of Ahriman. The bluntness, the words used, the need to ruminate on the answers given and self-reflect. It's clearly something about the darkness and descent that these beings know and understand that we as physical beings are missing, which is what this grimoire helps you understand, so you can descend into that darkness, so you can transform, so you can absorb and be completed and whole and rise up again. Now, when it comes to reviews, I have two major criteria. Is there knowledge to be gained, and am I entertained? Fortunately, I can say yes to both. Being only 65 pages doesn't take away or dilute the knowledge found within the Book of Baphomet. While some parts feel a little padded and some unintentionally edgelord, like telling people to burn the book, which someone might take literally, I thoroughly enjoyed the read and walked away with gained knowledge and curiosity about Baphomet. While there are some confusing parts that go on for too long, namely in chapter 6, and some chapter order should be rearranged, I can say with full confidence this is a good read. This is not only beginner practitioner friendly, but if you have a curious mind or you're even a moderately experienced occult practitioner, you will enjoy and come away with something. The ones who will get the most from this are the practitioners who haven't found their sense of self and are searching for their path of understanding. Atius is a wordsmith who does a great job being descriptive, but it comes at a small cost of having elements drag on and having some extra unneeded fluff. It's not enough to outright ruin anything, but it does slow momentum. That being said, no matter what, it takes time, effort, passion, and dedication to release a book of any kind, and I will always give credit to anyone who steps out of their comfort zone and writes one. And Atius Dade has written a solid one for his first time out. And because of those reasons, we give Book of Baphomet 3.5 stars out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and if you have any review recommendations, please let us know in the comment section down below, or let us know on social media, and those links will be in the description. Thank you guys again, and be sure to check out Atius Dade's YouTube channel, link below, and be sure to check out Book of Baphomet when it comes out sometime in 2026.